This is, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about personal talent performance. Each one of us sort of bring with us those innate talents. So the productivity gain, sort of knowing sort of what you're really talented at is, really, hopefully, number one, actually not doing those things that you're not naturally wired for. I mentioned being an accountant, probably spending too much time doing those tasks, but it was sort of early in my career, so you can really help individuals, especially young in their career, and we work with a number of firms that actually do that with placement. Performing those tasks that you're just not passionate about, even if you are sort of naturally wired. We're big believers of following your passion, focusing on sort of execution or poor focus on execution because there's not the right talents. And then, as Hugh mentioned, that confidence, lack of confidence. And it happens because maybe you didn't get mentored. We're a big firm about mentoring. You can gain that. I don't care how old you are or how young you are, that can be developed. And then the inability to engage others on the team. And as we talked about those more reserved profiles, they may not be as comfortable to engage. Or the engager might be too sort of involved. Just finding that balance with the team. You can really help and leverage and grow in your career and your personal talents. This is one that I particularly like is what is your standout talent and what is unique about you that really unlocks that performance and that talent. And I think as you go through this day, and we'll do some case study review where we're doing interaction, think about that standout talent. Mine, I'd mentioned I ran a couple of big projects, and even the work that we do here at DNA Behavior, I'm great sort of working with our team. That's sort of, I wake up every day, even though I'm an initiator, I get excited about the connections with people and what we're doing in the relationship we're growing. It just really fuels me. Even though I'm not an engager, I'm sort of a little bit of an ambivert. But I get a lot of excitement around seeing people grow. If you looked at my one-page factor, you'd see I do have that, that sort of nurturing ability. I enjoy it. So what is your standout talent as you're going through this? Because every one of us has it. Sometimes we just don't tap into it because we're just in a fast-paced environment. We're in a career that we're not necessarily happy about, or maybe we are. That's one of the things I think you can help unlock a lot of individuals that you're mentoring and coaching. And when I actually met Hugh back in 2012, the one thing I was really sort of impressed on the website somewhere I saw Marcus Buckingham's name. And it was sort of my first leadership moment when I was at Cox. And I'd worked there for 10 years and nobody ever gave me a review. And it was like one of those things that was just, you're there, you're doing the work. And I had a leader, he was a controller, he was actually a finance guy. And he sat down with me at this one-on-one meeting and he gave me this book. He said, I want you to read this book, and it's called First Break All the Rules. It was awesome. And the stuff that Monique works on Strength Finders, it's built on that work. It's about everybody needs to be treated uniquely. We're not sort of a process. We're not, you really sort of spending that, and I'm not talking large amounts of time. You can really untap talents in your team, in yourself, when you use sort of these things, because people don't leave companies, they leave their managers. That's really what Marcus Buckingham teaches. So it was really one of the things I was so impressed when I met Hugh, and sort of the work that's predicated on this is, that every role can be, are the right people in the right roles, because as Hugh mentioned, we do a lot of organizational work. Sometimes we've gone into teams and it's, the leader thinks this person's not a performer. They're just in the wrong role. They're not utilizing their talents. And I've seen people move to another role within maybe another functional group and thrive. And I've got testimonials on that. It's really pretty powerful. You can really help an individual through that talent review. Monique?
I have a question. In promoting the Strengths Finder, they have 34 talents. And I am able to say your unique way that they play out, in the order they play out, you're 1 in 33 million. Given that you have 64 that you examine, they come out in a certain order. Do you have a sort of a ratio, a statistic that you could throw out? Because I'm selling tools right? So if I am selling, that's great for me to say, you can buy into that. You're so unique. And for you to buy into yourself, your uniqueness is 1 in 33 million. What's your statistic?
You're going to, because maths, ratchets up pretty fast. So you'll see when we show you the validation slide later today, it's in past 2 trillion. Because if you look at the 8 factors and the 64 subfactor and the 16 subfactors measured on each side from 20 to 80, and you take that each one has got a different measurement and you multiply that out, it's we haven't even got enough people on this earth.
So 1 in 2 trillion are the same with yours. Okay.
Yeah.
So it really does show every.
It's interesting. Some people just think that, right. That's to the point of how unique your talent is. That's why I wanted to ask that.
But we've distilled it down, of course, probably a little bit simpler than StrengthsFinder in the sense that we've got the 10 overall styles, which Leon is going to show you in a couple of minutes, and then the 8 factors and the 16 subfactors. So you won't see quite the 2 trillion, won't be slammed in your face quite that hard there. It's just to keep it at a slightly higher level, but if you get very specific, no two of us are going to operate the same.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah, great question. I'll run through these pretty quickly, but discovering your performance attributes. And Hugh mentioned, these things, this character and integrity, people's experiences, probably early in life or, through their life, really are developed. They're not measured, but they sort of are the character development and integrity. The things that we measure and the relationship and results, which we've talked about, sort of those talents. And then the things that really in education experiences, work experiences, competencies, they sort of make up these 3 in the pyramid. But the character and integrity are sort of foundational. And if as you mentioned, like sometimes the amygdala might go off with meeting someone, there's probably something there. And when you're building trust with a team or an individual or a relationship, it's important because if something's going off and the amygdala does get triggered, there's probably a reason. So it doesn't mean that you need to sort of disengage, but something is probably there around this piece right here.